Hi and welcome everyone. My name is Maria Johansson. I'm a guide and the Ritual Master with the Modern Mystery School based here in Sweden. And today we have the great pleasure to have Divina Kate Bartram Brown with us. Welcome, welcome. And briefly touching upon all the accomplishments that Divina Kate has done in her life, she is currently the CEO of the Modern Mystery School Europe. She holds a PhD in natural medicine, and she has very successfully founded a yoga company for children, Minimi Yoga, and it's currently in about 35-40 countries. And she has very also successfully run a high-end dry cleaning business in London. And this is just to mention a very few of all the things that Divina Kate Bartram Brown has done in her life. But welcome dearly to this call.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit more with everyone. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for being here. And should we jump right into it? So could you, in your own words, share a little bit about what is the Modern Mystery School?
Yeah, it's such a huge question, isn't it? What is the Modern Mystery School? Well, the Modern Mystery School is an ancient path. It's a school of metaphysics. So we study this world of the invisible world. So it's things that go beyond logic. Is how I like to explain it, because in life, and I'm sure all of you can relate, that you've got many things that have happened in life that you just can't quite explain by science or logic, and there's that area like, wow, was it a coincidence, was it not, was it this, all these different types of questions. And there's a study of the invisible world called metaphysics, and that is what the Modern Mystery School is. And this path has been, around for about 8,000 years, well, likely longer, but we actually have teachings and scriptures and such like recorded from about 8,000 years ago. And really the lineage was organized about maybe 3,000 years ago, around the time of King Solomon. So that's why we say that the lineage is 3,000 years, because we can track it back. But obviously the teachings and the information are way older than that. So the Modern Mystery School is a huge opportunity for people to really understand themselves, the real them, to know themselves, to really understand all parts of them. So not just the physical, not just the mental, not just the emotional, but also the energetic aspect of us. So it's a huge opportunity for those that are seeking to know themselves.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And that is just the very tip of the iceberg of what the Mystery School really is about. But maybe if we get more into the physical, where we are today located, where in the world is the Modern Mystery School, and where can you join if you'd like?
I know, because it's so exciting, because the Mystery School is changing on a daily basis in terms of where you can locate it, because it started out in the United States. It's the lineage of the North America. So you would have been able to access it from 1997 in the United States. But since then, of course, many people have began to study and walk the path. And in doing so, they have become teachers themselves, and they have become practitioners. So now the good news is 20 plus years later that you can access the Modern Mystery School at different levels around the world. And I believe we're in something like over 45, 48 countries or something like that now. However, the head office, the HQ, if you wanted to go and study at the headquarters at one of our huge programs, then you would go to Canada, and that's in Toronto. And we have a beautiful center there, and we have programs there 4 times a year. and people travel from all over the world to attend those programs, and that's on the schedule, it's on the calendar, and you know, you can book and such like. Then we have the regional HQs, which, for example, are London, Brazil, and South Africa. And in those places, you can also come to study, and we each have centers, and we also use hotels and such like for when we welcome people from around the world, and we have the bigger classes, and we fly in teachers, and we fly in panels, and it's very exciting. And we have amazing classes on offer for people to come and attend. So you have these regional HQs as well. And then, of course, you have teachers in all of these countries and practitioners. And we actually have a list on the website, on any of our websites, the official websites. If you go scroll to the bottom, you have certified lists. So you can actually find, you know, if you wanted to find someone that teaches astral travel, if you wanted to find someone that teaches sacred geometry, you can go to the list and you can find the nearest teacher or practitioner in your area. So I hope that helps kind of, you know, pinpoint where you might be able to find us.
Yes, it does very much so. Thank you for clarifying that, because that's quite a common question. How can I join and where do I start, right? But if we go to the little bit more, what are we really about? You briefly touched on it, you know, in your previous intro there, what the Mystery School is about. But if we go a little deeper, why do we exist and what is the Mystery School really about?
Yeah, it is the ancient, it's called the Great Work actually in the occult sciences, and the occult means hidden. It just means, this word just means hidden. And this is a very ancient study, and people have been doing this since the beginning of time. And it's called the Great Work. And we believe in the Mystery School path, or the lineage of King Solomon, that if we truly know ourselves, then we will know the universe, because one of the Hermetic principles, and we are a Hermetic lineage, is so within, so without. So the more work that we do on ourselves, and we understand ourselves as the divine beings, let's say God beings, divine beings, whatever terminology you want to call them, but this very high vibration that we really are, then we will understand how to wield the powers of the universe, how to manifest in physicality, how to heal ourselves, how to live a joyous life, how to have amazing relationships, how to spread joy and kindness all over the world. And we truly believe in the lineage that if everybody, if we all took on this duty or this responsibility, that we would have peace on the planet, and that we would live in something that we call Shambhala, which has many names. I mean, many paths have, different names for it. But really what it means is that it's heaven on earth, so that, we're striving to bring that state of peace and harmony within ourselves, because if we strive to that point and we have complete peace and harmony and joy and abundance within us, then that reflects out into the world, and we can manifest that and have that in our reality. And of course, if we're doing it, then the cool thing is that we get to share it with everybody else. And that's a key component to the lineage and to the school, is that we don't just keep it all for us. It's like, I know the secrets, and this is for me. It's not that. We realize, this is how we do it, and then we share it with others. So if you're ever on my Facebook page or whatever, you'll always hear me going on about Empower Thyself or any of the classes, because it's not just for me to have this amazing, these amazing tools. I want everybody to have them if they so choose to have them. Of course, it's everybody has that free will, and that's something else that I absolutely love about this path, is that it's all about honoring our free will and honoring each other's free will as these divine beings, and recognizing each other as very high vibrational divine beings. So, there's so much to it. And this is why it's existed, because we have to have some form of path or progression for us to be able to attain this enlightenment. I guess, it had different terminologies. People often think about enlightenment of, the Buddha and the sitting on the, under the tree or whatever it is. But, it's not so grand that it's not within everybody's grasp. So I don't want to throw these words out and people say, oh, this is, not for me. It's for everybody. These are practical, everyday tools that we learn. Yes, they are very ancient, but they support our modern day life because we are these divine spiritual beings. So, this is why the school exists, and and this is what we're about. We're about progression, knowing ourselves, and making sure that everybody has access to a joyous life.
Wow. This just sounds so good, right? You're saying it's for everyone. There's a path. And where do I begin? If I am now so called and I say, okay, my life is not exactly the way that you're kind of describing it with all this, empowerment, and I can do it, but where do I start if I want to join? If I've done nothing with the Modern Mystery School, how do I start?
It's a great question, isn't it? Because we have so many amazing things on offer, and it can be quite overwhelming. If you go, it's like, oh my goodness, what do I do first? How do I do? And this is the wonderful thing about, an organized path, or, something that has been around for thousands of years. It's really simple to follow. And what I always recommend is that everybody start with something called the life activation. And it's a one-to-one session. And this one-to-one session can be done with any practitioner that's on the certified list in over 40 odd countries around the world. So it's easily accessible, number one. It takes about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on how much chatting and talking that we get to do. So we carve out that time for yourself. And you go to the practitioner, and they will provide a session called the life activation for you. Now, the life activation itself is tremendous. I'm a doctor of natural medicine, and I have studied many, many modalities. And there is nothing that I have come across that achieves the same as the life activation. It is truly tremendous. And doesn't matter how advanced you are in your spiritual progression, or if you've never done anything before, the beautiful thing about the life activation is that this will serve you from the place that you are already at. And that's the magic of it. And the life activation actually came from King Solomon's temple. So it's about 3,000 years old, likely, a little bit older. But in terms of us being able to track it, we say it's about 3,000 years old. And King Solomon came together with all the medicine men and women. And some of you might have actually read about this and learned about this already. And they all came together in the temple. And actually studied in the temple for over 25 years, recording and logging all of the keys, the magical keys, and everything that we would need to help us on this path of progression. And hence why we have such an array of different subjects and different things that you can study, because of all of the dedication of all of these mages and leaders and royalty that came together. And the life activation came from this temple, and it was designed to awaken all 24 strands of our DNA. So 12 physical, 12 spiritual. And King Solomon's life mission was to actually activate what we call the Adam Kadmon. Now, the Adam Kadmon is the complete divine being in complete balance, the superhuman gene, if you like. It's known as in the sciences, the Vitruvian man. And Leonardo da Vinci depicted this Vitruvian Man, the Adam Cadman, and some of you might know that image. And of course, Leonardo da Vinci was a student in the mystery school. So we have this superhuman gene, and King Solomon's mission was to find how to activate it, how to awaken it, so that we could live as the gods, the goddesses on the planet that we are. And the life activation activated all 24 strands, but after a couple of days, two of the strands turned off, and it was different every time. And however, even with those strands, miraculous things started to happen. And what the life activation does, it actually creates this fertile ground from which all healing takes place. And this is something that the Third Order have the key holders, the lineage holders have said several times. And this is the magic of the life activation, because what it does, it helps whatever you're doing in life anchor into your structure. Because you might have noticed in life that you might do things and things dissipate very quickly or move, and it's hard to hold on to good habits. It's hard to stay focused in the positive mindset, and all these different types of things that we try and do. The life activation creates this beautiful fertile ground, and it starts to anchor all of those things that we want in our life. What does it do? It's so unique to the individual. Some people give up smoking, some people win a business deal, some people heal, some people have new relationships, some people move house. Who knows what's going to happen? It's whatever is supposed to happen for you, because what it does, and this is the cool thing, it plugs us back in to our original blueprint. So whatever your blueprint is, whatever you're here to do, whatever your unique missions and contracts are, it pops you back in and plugs you back in. And so you have that, and that lasts forever. It's one session, lasts forever. It's tremendous. And I always say, go and try that first, because you're going to then be able to get a direct experience of the energy of the lineage. And then you can decide and discern for yourself whether you would like to take that next step to empower thyself. And empower thyself is the next step that I would recommend. I mean, there's many other things that you could do from that point, but I like, to have good, strong foundation. I'm an entrepreneur. I like to do things efficiently. And these are the two things that I would say, go and do these two things, because no matter what you do in life, they're going to support you. They're going to, give you the tools that you need. And so empower thyself is that second step, which is initiation. And I think we're going to talk about that in a while.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much that you're covering here now, right? So just to, it's beautiful how you put it, because there's a flow to it. There's a path of progression. If you want to start, we have so many things that it's open to the public, but life activation, it's that fertile ground where you can really start seeing perhaps a shift in your own life, should you choose out of your free will to act upon it, right? And then the next step is the Empower Thyself, and we're offering it here in Sweden. I will be leading it on 24th of September, 23rd, 24th of September. But first you need to do the life activation just so that you're prepared for that. But then there's that path of progression. Could you speak more about the path of progression, and why is that important? Why do we have a path of progression? Shouldn't I just be able to pick and choose from all this goodness, right? Or how is that supportive?
Yeah, well, I am one of the early indigos, and I do not like authority, and I do not like being told what to do, and I don't like being, directed in any way. So I was one of the early ones that, that would fight against all of that. But The truth is that the light actually flows really well in some form of structure. And I know this in business now. You can't run a business and just go here, here, here. It just creates chaos. But this is also true of a hierarchy of light, of a flow of light. And we have progression because we are all energy. That the world is made up of energy, and we are all energetic beings. And science, we all agree on this. Science, metaphysics, we all agree everything's energy. So at least we can, come together in that point. And we know that energy is never stagnant. Energy is always moving. It's always moving. So if we know that energy is always moving, it can only move forward or backwards. It's always moving. It can't stay stagnant. It just regresses. So this is why we say path of progression, because we're always moving forward. We're always honoring ourselves as that energetic being and taking that one step at a time, forward, forward, forward. And we can do this in many, many different ways. And the path of progression is there to support the individual to reach their top of the mountain, whatever it is that they're here to do, whatever mission they're here to do, whatever they want to achieve, if it's they want to be the best mother in the world, and that's what we're here to do, to help them do that. If they want to be the best CEO in the world, that's what, if you want to be the best, whatever it is that you want to do, that's the path of progression. And we have that path of progression so that we honor ourselves in moving forward. Plus, it makes it very easy and simple for us, because we know, okay, we have achieved the life activation. Okay, I've done that. And then when you get that inner knowing, I'm ready for more, you know where to go, because you will get that inner knowing saying, I'm ready for more. And
So
what I found, and what I found in my previous studies is that I was ready for more, and I would take more, and then I would come to a point where there wasn't any more, and I'd achieved the top of, and that was it. And I was like, well, there is more, because I can feel and sense there's more, because we are unlimited. There's no we are unlimited beings. We're huge, and so the progression honors that. There's always going to be more for us to find out about ourselves and for us to expand. We're always being bigger and more awareness, more wisdom, more insight, so this is why we have a path of progression.
And on that, can you also add the flavor of service? Because the path of progression is phenomenal. Like, to know that there is clear steps so that I can grow in a sustainable way. But on that also, I want to share it to others, perhaps, at that point. Can you speak briefly about service and about Healers Academy, where we really come together as a first, where we gather?
Well, this is the cool thing, because as I mentioned earlier, one of the major keys to any path that achieves enlightenment, and again, we all agree on this. This is, there are several paths that you can take to enlightenment, and we all agree that the only way to achieve that is through service. And you can think about anybody that has achieved that, Buddha, Mother Teresa, whoever you want to think of, each one has served. And this is a really important key, and why we have the path of progression set out in the way that it is, so that we have the life activation first. We're serving ourselves, we're awakening those aspects of us. Then we go to initiation, and here we learn how to start wielding our power, understanding how to manifest, how to bring in the light, how to protect ourselves, learning the secrets of the universe, understanding ourselves as multidimensional beings. And then we receive this huge healing of initiation that cuts away the negative ego. So, you know, we're still in that service to self here. And then we go out into the world and we start living life as an initiate, living life as an adept. And we start to see the magic unfold in our lives and our world transform way beyond that we could ever imagine. And you'll notice the subtleties in your own mindset, in your own world, and it'll be a very individual process. And somewhere along the line, you think, wow, I wish I could help others do this. That's naturally what we all think, because people that come are good people. You know, it's like, oh goodness, my brother would love this, or my grandma would like this, or, you know, and whoever would love this. And it's not necessarily that we want to go out there and be healers. Some people do want to train and to be healers. Great. Some people just genuinely want to share the light that they have with their family and friends. Great. And so Healers Academy is that next step.
Yeah. Here, I just want to honor also the opportunity to ask questions, because I feel we can flow this amazing energy. But just to pause and thank you so much for all this rich information. I want to honor if there were any questions, perhaps from the audience. And if there isn't, there has nothing popped up in the chat. So if you do come up with something, you can pop it into the chat. But then we'll carry on. So maybe to build on what you're saying, and we want to share it, but then what does it really mean to know thyself? Like a like a small little question to round up with, right? Yeah, it's quite key to what we do, but what does that mean to you to really know thyself, and why is this so important?
Well, to me, I mean, I can only speak for me, it maybe in this particular question, because when you know yourself, you take on full responsibility for all of your emotions, the way you act in the world, the way that you contribute in the world, the way that thoughts are happening in my mind. And we believe in the lineage that our thoughts and our words are extremely powerful, and that they can make a huge impact in the world. So as an initiate, as you know, as someone that's on the path to know themselves, I want to make sure that my thoughts are clean and that they are pure as possible. And if you know, thoughts come in that are not high vibration, I can do something about it. So because that is impacting the world out there, to know thyself is taking responsibility for yourself in the world and your contribution to the entire world, because we are all one. And what I do is going to affect you out there, and vice versa. So I want to make sure that I look after myself in body, soul, and spirit, and that I take care of all the people around me, because we're all one. So whatever I'm doing to myself, I'm doing to others as well. So to know thyself is really the greatest gift, and it's called the great work, the greatest gift that we can give to our world. And I believe, this is just one of my thoughts, I believe that if we all knew ourselves, that we would have peace and harmony in our world, that violence would stop, and that we would not have acts of violence, and we would not have hunger in the world, and we would not see the atrocities which are happening in today's world. So this is the importance to me of knowing thyself and the great work.
Beautiful. What a great end note there for this conversation. As we said, we can talk passionately about this for a very long time, but to hone in, to know thyself. It's the great work, and where to start. It's a life activation. And then, should you choose to progress, empower thyself. And we are all here to help Divina Kate, who is the CEO of UK and Europe Mystery School, based in London, but we are many around the world to help with this. And I want to thank you, Divina Kate, for this opportunity to dive into your personal flavor of what we are all about. And I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. And thank you for the participants. Yeah, talk to you all soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.